Welcome to the Scarlet, Blue, and You podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren Yaus, your Scarlet, Blue, and You host, and the HLGU Alumni Director. I'm coming to you live from the Burt studio on the HLGU campus, and I am so excited to have two special guests with me today. HLGU English Professor, Director of the Honors Program, and alum, Miss Amanda Henry, and retired English Professor and past First Lady, Mrs. Katherine Burt. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. So, Miss Henry, you teach full-time. You chair a department, a rather large one. You're a current doctoral student. Very impressive. And yet you have found time to write a trilogy. Okay. And that first book in your trilogy, your debut novel, has just been released. Congratulations. Can we do a round of applause? That's such an accomplishment. And your book is called?
The Legacy of the Lost Writer.
I like that. It has a nice sound to it. Would you like to tell us all about it?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I guess that is why we're here.
Yeah. Tell us what the book is about.
So the book, I would classify it as an adventure genre novel, and with a little bit of fantasy mixed in. I would say that it focuses on the character of Ineska, who is an outsider to the 6 realms of Rhinar. And she is entering these realms because she's taken a pledge of service to Lord Barristow, and she's going to be riding in some rather dangerous races, horse races for him, competing on his behalf. And along with that, she has another goal why she's there. She is there to find out more about her father's past. And there's a lot to discover there. There's some risk and danger she doesn't quite realize there. And then I won't get into many other characters because that would be revealing.
No spoilers on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want the details, you got to buy the book.
Yes. Exactly.
And read it. Only fair. Well, I have not actually seen a copy of the book, but I've heard you even have like a map, which I am a sucker for a map in a fiction book. Like I will study it throughout reading the entire thing. Yeah.
There is a map.
Did you make up, and you made up these realms. So this is a lot of creativity.
Yeah. I mean, I do not claim at all to have the level of creativity that some of the authors that I love, like J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, Tolkien spent years on his trilogy.
He made languages, right?
Yes. And I am not quite that detailed, no, but I did really enjoy diving into like creating a world. And yes, I did the map, and then I want to give a shout out to my friend and alumni, Casey Gray, or Casey Brace now. And she did the cover art for me.
Oh, fantastic.
And she also did the art for, there's some like banners on the inside for each realm, has its own kind of symbol, and she did those for me.
That's so cool. Now, Mrs. Burt, you're with us as well. And you have read the book.
I have read the book, and I've read the other two parts of the trilogy. So, yes.
So you know the entire secrets, and
I know the whole deal.
You know the end.
Yes, absolutely. It was a privilege when she asked me if I would read her book. And this has been, we were just talking about that about 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even believe it's been that long. So I was really privileged that she let me read her book when it was still in manuscript form. And it was a treat. I already knew that she was an excellent writer, but I knew that from the academic angle. I had no idea what she could do with fiction. And I have to say, she is too modest. When she was saying that she did not have as much, creativity and complexity and so forth.
Right.
As
she's just
authors.
Comparing herself to like world-renowned authors.
Exactly. But what I'm thinking is, what I read was, yes, absolutely every bit as creative. I've never read anything like her books. I was not prepared for many things in the book, and I'll try to.
She did say it kind of zigs and zags when you least expect.
What I'm going to say is that it has an amazingly complex and yet very understandable plot. It's logical. The characters are, there's a female character, Ineska, who carries the story. I just can't say enough good things about the characterization, the plot, and all of that. And as I was reading it, I kept but visualizing it as a movie, because it's full of adventure. When she called it an adventure story, it is full of action, adventure, one of my favorite elements, which is mystery. And it starts with a mystery, it continues with a mystery, it ends with a mystery, and it's just, I mean, at least the first
book one
the first
ends with
book.
a mystery.
It
Cliffhanger.
has lots of wonderful aspects that just frankly blew me away. It was great.
That's so exciting. So, at HLG, we are very excited to host an actual book reading and signing with Miss Henry. It's going to be at the HLGU Student Center on Thursday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. Everyone is invited. So, if you're community, if you're a student, parent, alum, please come. All are welcome and can attend that event. So, what actually inspired you, Miss Henry, to write this series?
Well, I would say that, I've always loved writing fiction. It's honestly one of the reasons why I became an English major. I did not know I was going to teach when I started. And, I have this wonderful mentor who showed me that teaching could be quite wonderful and excellent. And so I'm so glad that I'm doing that too. But I've always loved writing fiction. And for this story, I would say that, I love literature that has quests and adventure and medieval themes, which is kind of what falls in line with my story too. And, I love reading fantasy literature. So there's a little bit of that mixed in, with the adventure in my book. But also just with regards to the horses, that's the part I feel like people are going to ask me about.
Yeah.
And I'm not a talented rider. And by that, I mean, I don't really ride much at all.
But are you scared of them?
No, I love horses. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I
For 20
love
years,
horses.
I was terrified of horses.
Yeah.
I've come around.
Yeah.
But I had a bad experience. Don't ride a horse on really hilly. Yeah, it's just not a good way to start.
Start.
I'm getting excited. This is going to be fun. So the book one is out. When will the rest of the series be available?
So my plan is to have one released each year.
Okay.
So book two would
you're
come
gonna make
out
us be
2023. Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
It takes a little while to get them into print, and I want to make sure that they're printed well and things go.
Which is
turn out
exciting.
good.
You have a publisher. I mean, that's pretty cool right there.
Yeah, Westbow Press. They're connected to Zondervan. So
Nice.
it's a name people recognize.
For sure. So what's your writing process like? Do you have a special place that you write? A special pen?
At home, normally. I know some people love to go to coffee shops and write, and I think that's so cool. I will get distracted.
Yeah.
So I love to write at home, and I'll listen to music, preferably music without lyrics sometimes, just kind of depends on what I'm writing. So when Katherine was saying some of the scenes are more like action-packed, the music's probably got a little bit faster pace. So, but yeah, no, I love to just kind of lose myself in that, and it's just easier to do that.
Do you
at
use
home.
pen and paper?
I often use the computer more
Okay.
often. I've just gotten used to that, but I can use pen and paper. I can go either way.
Okay, that's versatile. All right. So what do you think makes for a good story?
I think that having, a plot that works together well and has compelling characters. For me, I really love great dialogue. I want it to feel like a real natural conversation that people in those situations would have. And then, wonderful prose is always always a benefit to that as well. So like a combination of those things.
So all the great stuff together. Mrs. Burt, you have anything to add or...
Nothing really to add, but I do have to agree that having a really engaging character that's believable is a necessity. It is for me, and an engaging plot, and one that is not predictable. And let me just go ahead and say that in The Legacy of the Lost Rider, you may think you can predict what's coming next, but unless you're clairvoyant, you cannot. She takes us on many thrill rides, literally thrill rides. I was just rereading last night a section in the middle of the book where there's a very heated race going on. There are things that are being done that are against the rules, and there's danger. And I mean, that thing ramps up, and you can't tell what is going to happen, who the winner is going to be, and I'm not going to give that away. But it's really exciting. And talking about horses, as I was rereading that last night, I was thinking, where did she learn all this about not only horsemanship and riding, but about attacking people from another horse, and then it's a race, and it's a battle at the same time, and it's amazing. So an excellent plot is good. Also the setting, in some works it's not important. In her books it is. In fact, the setting is crucial,
almost like a character.
It's almost like a character, and she kindly provides a map with the names of each of the 6 realms, and then we have information about the lord of each realm, the banner of each realm, and what are the, are these good guys, bad guys, and sometimes you think and you really don't. So this book is a thrill ride. So if you're ready for action, adventure, and a wonderful lead character who is brave beyond all expectation. But she has to be. She's in a situation where her best self has to come out. Okay. And it does.
Okay. So exciting. Okay, so you said you loved writing fiction, but did you always want to write a full-length novel?
Oh, a full-length novel. I would say that's... so middle school, let's say I graduated from just writing for fun in middle school, writing anything for fun, to high school. I would say in high school I wanted to write a novel. So middle school was when I first remember just writing shorter pieces and just really enjoying it. And then all of a sudden in high school it was like, nope, I'm ready to move on to novels. Probably they weren't that great at that point, but I was already writing all sorts of things.
Have you kept all those? You have them?
Yeah, I have quite a few of them.
Your little story ideas?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so what is your favorite book?
Oh dear.
Or you can do top 3. I know that's hard. Yeah. It's like choosing your favorite cat.
I know. This is like why I have a book shelves, not a shelf, to make them all fit. But yeah, it varies. But I love the works of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. I love to be able to teach the works. I love the works of Jane Austen. They're very different genres.
Very different.
But I love the meaning that's contained in those works and the way those authors handle it. My book is not like I'm going to say it's not like those. And those are so different anyway, but I don't believe it's great to try to I think you have to find your own style and not try to emulate another author's too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. What's your favorite book to teach?
That also varies on the students. I feel my students really
the class determines.
They make it a wonderful experience. And so I'll just teach one book one day and I'm like, that was so great. We had so much great discussion over that book. And then the next day we have another one that seems to top it. So, right now I've just finished teaching Beowulf, and that was wonderful. And then and speaking of, action and things like that.
Yeah, there is some action in that one.
And then also just, like I said, the works of J.R.R. Tolkien and Jane Austen have just been wonderful to teach.
Excellent. Mrs. Burt, did you have a favorite book to teach?
Pretty much the same answer that Amanda gave it. It varies, but I think 2 all-time favorites in English literature were always Pride and Prejudice. I love Pride and Prejudice, but I also had a good time teaching Emma as well because she is such a flawed character in so many ways and doesn't even know it and eventually learns it, and it's a wonderful story. In American literature, I have a special place in my heart for My Antonia by Willa Cather. It's again a book that's not just like every other book. She does such a beautiful job of description of scenery and pioneer life and all of that. I do dearly love that book. It was fun to teach.
Okay. When I was a student a few years ago, I had Mrs. Burt for an 8 o'clock in the morning class. Yeah, not her favorite class, time. I think we were her favorite class.
Well, of course you were. Yes.
And I actually had her in drama as literature. And it was a class I signed up for, not really understanding at all what it was. But it was a Mrs. Burt class, and I needed an English class. So that's what I took. And then I got in, and I'm like, we're reading plays? That's not a book. And yet, we had a good time.
We did.
We read a lot of plays.
Good plays.
Yeah. Harvey and...
Harvey was a delight,
Raisin
just
in the
pure
Sun.
delight. Yeah. Do you remember Tartuffe?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciated the more comedic ones.
Sure.
The dramas were fine.
Great.
But yeah, I like funny. Funny's always good. Okay, so Miss Henry, we've talked about the book. You've told us it's first of a trilogy. How do we get our hands on the book?
Well, you can go to my website. It's very easy to get to. It's sharingtokens.com.
Tokens.
So I think you mentioned the series. The title of the series is The Tokens of Rhinar. But you can also just go to Amazon if you want. Just go straight to Amazon's website or go to Westbow Press's website, and you can order the book at either of those places. But I have a lot of links and information on my website. So,
All right. And if somebody happens to buy the book and then just happens to run into you, will you sign it?
I will.
Nice. Because how exciting is that to have a signed author book? All right. So once again, we will be hosting you in the Student Center on Thursday, September 22nd at 7 o'clock. And you're going to read a bit of the novel, which is very exciting. And then you're going to answer some questions, sign some copies. It's going to be a really fun evening. Will you have copies to purchase at the event?
I will, yeah. I will have some copies. If I'm not sure how many yet, so if you're interested in purchasing
you definitely want one.
Yeah, you might contact me.
Okay, perfect. Mrs. Burt, are you coming?
I would not miss it for the world. It would be fun.
This is going to be great. And you kind of mentioned this to me, but you're going to donate a portion of the book profits.
I am, yes. When I was thinking about publishing the book and praying about it, because it's been on my files for a while. I think Katherine mentions, she read it a while ago, and this was all before I started my doctorate. But now that I'm publishing them, I prayed about it, and I'm going to give most of the profits back to HLG. So
that's awesome. Thank you so much. We have such good alumni and faculty, and it's just a special place. And God is obviously using all of your talents. So I'm excited to read it. I'm going to go get my copy after this. Is there anything that we missed that we need to discuss?
I think
there's only one thing, and I said I would not do this.
But she's going to do it.
You know I'm going to do it. Yes, I've said it to just about everybody in this room that I'm not going to do this, but I am. You know that Amanda Henry is, first of all, she's brilliant. And secondly, she is a lady of the first degree. She is sophisticated. She is cool, calm, and gentle. And yet, she can kill off a character with relish like you have never known. She can come up with the most innovative ideas to kill off characters. Now, she doesn't kill off characters that would break your heart. I mean, that's not a part of who she is. But, if you're interested to see how delightful Miss Henry can just completely devastate a character and just, kill him off, frankly, with relish, then you should read her book. And now there I've said it and said I wouldn't do it, but I did.
And no promises on, that all good characters are off limits. But that's not usually my style, but I won't say no promises.
As long as, a cat or a dog doesn't perish, then I'm usually pretty
There is
good.
no animal abuse in these
Yes.
books. So.
Excellent. All right. This is going to be so much fun. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We hope to see you on, Thursday, September 22nd in the Student Center at 7 o'clock for our reading and signing with Miss Henry. And thanks for listening to this Scarlet, Blue, and You podcast. Remember to keep a song in your heart, preferably the HLGU alma mater, and Hannibal LaGrange in your mind.